Every day we come across that person, whether it's a classmate trying to understand their homework assignment, a friend needing someone to talk to, or a homeless person struggling to survive. We are left with a choice. Should I help them, or should I pretend as if I didn't see anything and move on with my day? It may not affect us at that time and place, but if we can't see the bigger picture or the benefit that comes from helping others, we are left with not only one, but two disappointed people. Without caring for the well-being of others, we deprive ourselves of love and diminish our sense of belonging in the community. Imagine smiling at your friends and family, or even the strangers on the street. You have a nice conversation where you encourage and empower them to be the best version of themselves. At the end of the day, everyone is not only thankful, but also happier and healthier because they know that someone out there cares. This does sound idealistic, and you might be thinking, the world isn't that simple. And yes, it isn't. But having a simple goal makes it a little bit easier to progress forward. Today, I will be talking about the importance of being more willing to help others in need, followed by a mindset we should adopt to ensure that we can help others successfully and selflessly. When I was a child, I visited India during the summers, and I would love going out to the mall and to my cousin's place. My family and I traveled in an auto rickshaw, a transportation vehicle. The Delhi streets were lively, filled with colorful banners, small shops, and people of all different ages. The cars were honking, and they were breezing past us, and I could hear the faint twinkling sound coming from the temples in the background. I spent the rickshaw ride looking outside, observing the scenery, and talking to my family. But when I saw the traffic lights turned red, we paused. I noticed homeless children, parents, and grandparents walking from car to car asking for money. At that moment, I felt embarrassed. I silently watched them go to the rickshaw next to ours, knocking on the side frame of the rickshaw, pleading for the passenger's attention, but being dismissed right away. Then they came to our rickshaw. I didn't know what to do. The girl, who looked younger than me, was holding her baby sister in her arms. She held out her palm, but I slowly shook my head. She spoke softly, "Please, Didi," which means "please, sister" in Hindi. "I'm sorry," I said, turning away to avoid looking into her eyes. The traffic lights then turned green, and the rickshaw started up again, leaving the two sisters behind in the roadway full of cars puffing smoke. I was surprised when I saw that the children didn't have any reaction. They didn't look shocked or sad. It seemed as if rejection was normal to them. Being an Indian child, born in the US and raised in Japan, I was privileged to have an international experience and to have received an opportunity to study at a Japanese school. To an extent, I was happy with my life. I was extremely grateful, but I realized that whenever I would return to India, I would view the homeless children on the streets as inferior. I was constantly told that they didn't have jobs because they refused to work hard, and that even when they were given money, they used it to purchase alcohol or drugs. They don't deserve the attention. Soon enough, I came to believe that as well. I started to develop a superiority complex, where I justified my superiority compared to those in poverty, even if it wasn't intentional. I wanted to be a kinder person, but my motivation in helping others was not selfless. I did it because I wanted to feel good about myself. But you might think that this is counterintuitive. How can you be selfish and selfless at the same time? Should you be selfish in order to be selfless? These are completely opposite words, but as human beings, we have the capacity to inherit both behaviors. The question comes down to how we can utilize both behaviors for the better. First, we need to let go of the expectation that our intentions have to be perfectly selfless. When I first started helping those in need, I did feel good about myself, and I was thinking about the praises I would receive afterwards. My main goal was simply to make an impact without focusing on my intentions. Although our intentions may be selfish in the beginning, we gradually do gain the ability to become selfless. The more we help people, the more natural it feels. Helping others becomes a habit. Unconsciously, we start to focus our attention on the people we're helping instead of the benefits we gain from it. The process of selflessness begins there, when the benefits we gain become the mere side effect of our actions, not the main goal. There are many reasons as to why we don't help others in need. In large groups of people, we feel that we don't need to help other people because someone else might do it as well. Other times, we don't want to do something that is completely different to what others are doing because we rely on our surroundings to make these decisions. If your group of friends ignores someone that's in need, why should you? We are influenced by these details when it comes to doing something that does not conform to societal norms. On the other hand, it might not always be practical to help every person that we see. According to psychology today, when our emotional costs are deemed too high, we are far less inclined to exhibit adaptive helping behavior. For example, if you are going through problems of your own or were not feeling well, you would not be able to devote as much energy or provide the right support for another person. Previously, I ignored the children that would come asking for help. I hesitated in taking that step because of the numerous stereotypes that I was taught about people in poverty. However, I was determined to make changes when I encountered similar children a few years later. I started focusing on taking small actions, like carrying candies in my pocket. When I gave a little girl a piece of haichu, for example, she first looked very confused by the tiny gray-colored block I placed on her hands. But then, when she realized it was candy, she smiled, ate the candy, and moved on to the next car. I felt accomplished and was encouraged to help more people. Yes, my main goal in the beginning was to make an impact while feeling good about myself. But as I kept trying to do random acts of kindness each day, it became like the desire I had to care for the well-being of others overpowered the selfish intentions. We all have the capacity to be selfish and selfless. In fact, we need to be both. In my case, selflessness was a process, a goal that I wanted to achieve. But before I could even think about that, I had to embrace the idea that being selfish was okay. This was how I discovered my own purpose in helping others. That's not to say that there is an end goal or limit to how we can become a better person, because that will always be a work in progress. Bringing out little pieces of candy and giving small change was a small step, but it was a step in the right direction. I began to recognize our role in helping people and was more excited to do so. Even then, now that I'm thousands of miles away from India, where I first learned about this, I am still able and I'm trying to apply those habits in my everyday school setting. Consider the teaspoon of change movement. Teaspoons of change are defined as small but significant ideas, attitudes, and actions that have a positive impact on the planet. The small changes we make in our everyday life will accumulate into large changes. This way, we can make a profound difference on those around us. If we make helping others a habit, it will be amazing. 5 years ago, the United Nations announced their goal to eradicate poverty by 2030. However, the World Poverty Clock has claimed that there are still 720 million people living under extreme poverty today. Although substantial efforts are being made to help tackle this issue, we are still facing a step back due to the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. It may not always be feasible to donate to charities or organizations, but we can still control the small actions we take each day. During this pandemic, many people are helping those who are most vulnerable by, for example, delivering medicine, groceries, or daily necessities. Children are writing letters to elderly homes, and students are raising awareness about social distancing. This shows that we really do need everyone's cooperation, and that we need to use our privilege to help others overcome their own challenges as well, so that we can create a stronger community together. If we make helping others a habit, you're not only creating value in your interactions, but you're also increasing the probability of having a world where more children could receive a better education. Students could feel confident, adults could pursue their dreams, and more people could have a higher standard of living. With that, now it's time to ask yourself, how can you make an impact by helping others? And what steps can you take to do it more often? We all have the capacity to be selfless. So now is the time to start small and keep building on it. Thank you.